Take a point for Smed. He on his phone during his own interview. You know what I'm saying? We'll play that,
Well,
man.
take a point from you for thinking of the worst title in the world.
So, bro, how was the vacation, man?
Vacation was sweet. I liked it. I love LA. I like the West Coast. Period. You know
What do you
I mean?
love like the most about the West Coast?
The thing I like most about the West Coast is just the time difference. I got like a East Coast state of mind as far as just like our time, right? So I'm waking up at 7 or 6 o'clock here, but it's only like 3 o'clock in there, like out west, so I can get busy. What's
Yeah.
up, Jack?
Business always happening. You know what I'm saying? Oh.
Look, yeah, did you look on the website?
I mean, no, I'm just in general hoodies are $10 more than I heard.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
So you want to put something on the sleeve as well. So if I told him about $5, but I really just told him like I take $4 off of that because it's been $28 for 50. Yeah, like $12.
All right, is that outside his budget or something?
Speak Spanish and Spanish. I'm just trying to make sure that
That's a good price for me. If he'll roll with it, let's do it. I need it. Yeah.
So, man, bro, how was Cali? You know what I'm saying? Let's get started, man. How was
You
Cali?
see your shot right there? Let me look at your head, bro. That shit look like
You gonna do me like that, man? Come
I'm
on.
saying, like, bro, you need
Man.
more of your.
Who set this shot up? You know what I'm saying? Like, fresh out the barbershop, as you can see, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't a hair on me out of place. But come on.
But,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah. All right, here we go.
But nah, like the West Coast is just good. You can get more done. You know what I mean? You wake up a lot earlier. You get a bunch of stuff done. And then by the time you're done with your work, it's only like 2:30 or 1:30 in the daytime.
Wow.
And then you still got your whole night to go out and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
The
so
scenery is beautiful too.
I mean, like, you love dating a lot, man. So was it depressing coming back?
Nah, it wasn't, because like, man, I got something to come back here too. I was ready to get to work. You know, I went to a convention out there and I met like a lot of good connects. And so I'm about to get some new printing machines. Our business should go to the next level with just wholesaling and just building. So we about to tee up.
Word, man. So that journey, you know, like for a vacation, but you've also been on a spiritual and enlightenment journey.
Always.
Right. Right. Like your whole life has been like a journey when it comes to spirituality and you know what I'm saying, when it comes to learning who you are to the actual fabric of who you are. Talk about that. Like, what has that journey been like for you?
Right. So about a month ago.
Okay.
All right. I ran across a bro on YouTube named Dane Calloway.
Shout out to Dane Calloway.
Okay. And he started talking about how brothers and sisters in America are really Native Americans. We the indigenous people of this land, and we always been here. And so that just made me want to like trace my ancestry. Like I always wanted to do it, but that kind of like gave me a stronger nudge to like, let's see what this is talking about.
Right.
All right. And so like I started researching my family tree and just researching my mother's side of the family. Just because like I knew more of my mother's family, like just the access, like my grandfather on my mother's side, he was always around me. And then my mom's mom, my grandmother, like, you know, I spent a lot of time with her growing up.
Put names on it so we can.
Well, my grandfather's name is Willie Biggs.
Okay.
Okay. And my grandmother's name is Willa Myers, but Willa Biggs once she got married to my grandfather.
Okay.
All right. And so I did start researching my mom's side through something called FamilySearch.org. We'll link the description to FamilySearch.org for anybody that's looking for their people. And they was giving me a lot of leads, man. I was finding out a lot of interesting information, and it was cool. Like I was tracing back my fourth great grandfather and stuff, and like I wanted to see pictures of my family so bad, and I found one picture of a man named Dupuy,
Okay.
right? And once I found his picture, it was kind of like, dang, I want to see all my other ancestors to see what they look like. So then I was just like on a search to just find pictures. And then well, with my grandmother's side, I was able to find some, but it was just that one picture. And then I wasn't even sure if Granddad Dupuy was really even my grandfather. His name is George Washington Dupuy.
Okay.
All right. And it's like it was from a small town in Kentucky, Paris, Kentucky, and that's Bourbon County. Right.
Okay.
So George Washington Dupuy set up a church there. And I got a grandfather named George Washington. Right.
Okay.
But it didn't have the Dupuy on the end, but it was like right around the same time, small town. And
But the dots are connecting at this point.
yeah, it's like it was a good possibility that this could have been my grandfather. And then I started researching him and seeing what all he did. He actually had a Wikipedia page. And on his Wikipedia page, man, he was doing a lot of stuff, man. He published a newspaper. He became the Grand Master at the Masonic Lodge. So he was like taking care of a lot of stuff, man, you know. And I think that he was born a slave, and then he ended up getting his freedom, and then he became a minister, and he was just like he was doing just like a lot of major stuff. But I still wasn't 100% sure because of that last name Dupuy. And then on this Wikipedia, the other information that I was looking at, I really didn't see like any of his children or any of the names of his wives. So it was hard for me to get that concrete evidence that like, yeah, this is my great grandfather.
Right.
You know? So that made me start looking on my mom's father's side.
Okay.
And this is to my Biggs family.
So were you still using the same search engine?
I was using FamilySearch.org, but like they was giving me just limited
Surface
information. It was taking me back more than what I knew, but just not. I wanted to go deep.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I went to ancestry.com.
Okay.
My sister, Autumn Bryant, love you, baby.
Shout out.
She told me she told me she was on ancestry.com before, and she was looking up a bunch of stuff. She was like, you should try that. And so I was like, all right, bet. So I tried ancestry.com, and as soon as I went there, man, it was just like all of the stuff that was on FamilySearch.org. I put in my grandmother's name and my grandfather's name, and all the stuff from FamilySearch.org just started popping up. Boom, 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 boom. I'm getting
Clicking in.
links and links and links. So, man, I was like going super deep. You know, I really didn't go further than what FamilySearch.org had me go on my mom's side, but on my grandfather's side, it took me super deep. Like I had went all the way back to probably like the 1700s.
Wow.
And what I discovered was like my fourth great grandfather, his name is John Elder Biggs. Okay. And he's white. He was a slave master. And he fathered a child with my fourth great grandmother. And her name is Phyllis Biggs by marriage. Okay. By marriage to the slave master.
Wow.
So, but I don't know if it was just a marriage that our family said that this was, or if he actually considered it a marriage too, or how it was. But he also had another family that was all white, but he did have 5 children with my grandmother. So he had 5 children with my grandmother, and then he had his own like 11 kids with his white wife.
Okay.
All right. And so in 1854, my third great grandfather was born, and his name is Edmund Biggs.
Okay.
And he's mixed. And so this is the point where the Biggs family turned black.
Before we go down there, I want to talk more about your greatest grandfather's legacy and his leg. You know, before we get to the branch of when you came into, like your inception.
Yeah.
What are some things you could say about their legacy, their branch that is that side of your family?
So I went all the way back to 1435.
Wow.
All right. And so around that time, I had my 13th great grandfather. His name is Viscount Thomas. Oof, man. Getting there. So in 1435, I have a grandfather named Humphrey Brochure,
Mhm.
something.
Right.
He black. I can read. All right. And so that's 1435, and this is my 15th great grandfather. We're in. This is
I don't even know my grandfather, and you know your 15th.
This is Braintree District, Essex, England. Okay. And this is London. So he died in London.
Okay.
He died in London. All right, in 1471.
Mhm.
And that's Humphrey. That's my granddad Humphrey. That's my 15th great grandfather.
Shout out to OG Hump.
Okay. And so his grandson, I'll talk about his son because I don't know. He could have did something good too. Who is Thomas Bryan II.
Okay.
Okay. So Thomas Bryan II, he was born about 1500, around in that time. I don't see how he was born around that time. It seems like it's off a little bit. He was a little earlier than that because his son was born in 1512. And this is my grandfather. This is my 13th great grandfather who I'm really want to tell you guys about. Now he's a viscount, and a viscount is a member of a royal family or a royal circle. He was a knight in England. And he married my grandmother. His name is Viscount. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you his name. His name is Viscount Thomas D. Elham.
Okay.
All right, of Wales, right? And that is from Stourton, Stourton. This is my 13th great grandfather who was a Viscount royalty, which is cool.
Right.
Yeah,
You should be proud of that.
all day. And then he was married to Lady Elizabeth Alice Bryan, who was a governess to Queen Elizabeth I.
What is a governess?
A governess is like a governor of a territory, you know? And so she was putting in work. I think that it's all like royalty,
Class, yeah.
class, status, and just speaking.
Not a
on
vagabond, you know what I mean? Just more or less.
Yeah, man. They was ruling England. You know what I'm saying? So our family was literally royalty. Yeah, man. They was part of the royal class. And I don't know, like when I read stuff like that, it makes me like, dang, man, you know, I feel like all these years later, it should make you feel like you're destined to do something powerful, something good, something major.
Right. So let's get to where, you know, where your that lineage crossed path with your greatest grandmother's lineage.
Right. So one thing that I do want to say is that, like, the indigenous side of my family or either the African side of my family, our records don't go back that far. And that's a shame, because I feel like the lineage of my indigenous or African side would be just as royal, just as regal, and in the same level of majorness.
Correct.
You know what I mean? But I couldn't really go back that far because of all of the just destruction that happened to the indigenous people of this land, to the Africans who came here to America, whichever way it ended up happening, because the jury is still out on that.
Right.
But I think that my family was good either way. Like just strong-willed people.
Right. So you know, I was here and I was privileged enough to watch you do some of this research. One of the things I saw during that research was a family crest, right?
Yeah.
So is there anything like you could say to that and the college that's actually named after your family?
Yeah, man. I mean, we got. I'm saying we.
Nah,
but-
yeah, it is. It is.
man. Like
accept it,
they-
accept it. It
yeah,
is.
for sure. But we had just all kind of family crest and just rulership stuff. Like I also got like through my ancestry research last night. I got a badge or kind of like a hint of a picture that popped up and said that we were ancestors of Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Right. Wow.
You know, it's like it's got like a little, it's the president's seal and it's got like a little ancestry.com thing underneath it, but just saying like, yeah, a presidential ancestor.
Right.
And so like, I mean, all of that is just to say like, it's interesting to know where you come from, I guess.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we was going to talk about my grandmother, Phyllis Biggs or Phyllis McRoberts.
For sure.
Like, she was born in 1806 and she lived to be 106. So she didn't pass
That's a
away
blessing.
until 1912.
That's a blessing.
And she was sold 5 times into slavery. And then she ended up getting with my 4th great grandfather. Now, I'm not sure what type of relationship they had, whether this was a control relationship, like you're my slave, I'm going to have you anytime I want to, and forced her into that. But all the records that I found indicated that like she loved him like a marriage, you know?
I mean, if you think about the life expectancy of a slave, it wouldn't be 100 years old. So she had to be cared for in some portion of her life. So to me, it coincides with her being married because you have to have somebody there to support you. I don't think like a slave at the age of 50 or 60 got any good outlook. You know, I mean, if you look at chattel slavery, it'll be literally once you can't perform or do a duty, you are no longer needed. So to be 100, I will go with the notion that yes, she was loved by the person she married. I will say she's married. 100 years old.
Well, she lived 35 years after he died. You know what I mean? And like from 1806 to I guess
Strengthen that woman.
Like slavery was abolished to 1860 in 1865ish around that time. So a good portion of her life, she was a slave, but then freedom did come. Now, I'm not sure what she did after the Emancipation Proclamation, but the point is like half of her life she was a slave. The other half, she was free to do whatever she wanted, you know, and I'm not sure if she stayed there and helped my great grandfather or if she pulled tight, but I did find the will of my great grandfather.
Okay.
You know,
What did you
and
discover
my
in the
fourth
will?
great grandfather? That it didn't look like he left her anything, and it was like, because I was disappointed by that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like they were married, you know. But then I started just digging deeper because I couldn't find any slave master marriage records anywhere. I was like YouTubing, looking to see like, do masters marry their slaves? We talking about in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Like
They look
if
at
he
people
was to-
weird nowadays if you with a white woman and just let alone.
So if he would have married my grandmother, I mean, you know, love will make you do some crazy things. I get it. But like the way he would have been ostracized and thought of and talked about in a town, it would have been too much. Now, he could have actually loved my grandmother and he could have like treated her well. I mean, I suppose, but I mean, how well can you treat somebody that you bought? Like my grandmother, she probably suffered from Stockholm syndrome with this person. You know what I'm saying? And like, it just like, it wasn't as bad as how he could have done things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
she probably had to settle for that. But you do learn to love situations, man. You know, she made the best out of what she could. So if it meant she, like I said, she was sold 5 times and as early as
Not
10
six.
years old.
Not 6 though. You know what I mean?
Right, but she started being sold as early as 10 years old. I found the records of that. I found the records of her being sold at 11 years old. And there was just hundreds and hundreds of more documents, man. But man, one thing I do want to say about my grandmother, man, like once I started researching her and just like tapping in with her and rocking with her and talking about her a lot, man, I started seeing all kind of just like spiritual type like clues that she was around and feeling it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one instance, like the first night we really was getting all this information. Like we was just talking and I was like I kick it a lot, you know what I'm saying? And I laugh a lot and I play a lot, man, you know. And so once I found out that I had a grandfather who was a slave owner, I instantly started saying I see similarities between me and him. I never think niggas is working hard enough around here. Like my nephew and my son coming back here trying to just watch the interview. I'm like, that phone ringing.
And rewind the tape. He just said that.
My son coming back here telling me about some hoodies and shit. And I'm like, what? We gotta cut the interview so we gotta get that money.
Right.
So like, man, I just start like really embracing the fact that I had a white grandfather who was a slave owner, and I was just
that was his occupation, man.
He was a slave owner.
Yeah, that's his occupation. Like
that's
Benny the Butcher, something like that's his occupation, man.
Yeah, man. But it's
Johnny the Farmer.
It's a crime of humanity, though.
I agree.
You know, like you know what I'm saying. Like that's like saying somebody is like a hitman.
But it's things
like a hitman is a murderer. Like you can't separate somebody's occupation from who they are when they're doing things like that.
Well, it's not the discourse for this, but like, for instance, but if there was a person who worked at Planned Parenthood and Planned Parenthood got closed down,
they are
not forever that. If they stop doing it, they're never forever that anymore.
I mean, you are your record, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't get away from that. And he willingly did it. Like, I ain't even here to condemn him. Like my brother Beanut always say, like, would you own slaves if you could? And he's always saying, yeah, you know, like me and you say no.
Right, I say that.
We say no, but you know, like, you don't know what you would do. Yeah. It's on here? Yeah. We also got, did you see that thing I printed out? I just printed something out, that white print. It's a shipping label? It's a shipping label. Yep, it's going on that box of white shirts. It's like 50 white shirts going to Atlanta.
Ice, right? So let's get to the branches that lead to who you are.
So, well, we coming out of my grandmother, fourth grandmother. We turned black in 1854 with my third great grandfather, Edmund.
That's a stat. That's a stat.
We turned black in 1854 with my grandfather Edmund. So my grandfather Edmund had my grandfather John Biggs. John Biggs had my great grandfather. It's look on my laptop, Jay. Come here, Jay. Get on here with me real quick. What's up, y'all? Where we at? This is my son right here. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Hey, you're not an idiot, man.
I got multiple camera angles.
Ooh, this one?
No, wrong one.
Hey, Jay, take a picture with me. All right, come on. Boy. All right, now, get your for real. Look, T-Tone.
T-Tone in the building.
We're being checked right now. Tom, come here, Tom. You want to get...
Hey,
all right.
You got that taped up or not?
They're idiots, man.
Well, just come on.
All right, I got you.
I'm a genius, by the way.
It's no... I'll find you. What the fuck? That's what I mean. I'm doing an interview. Get your ass back to work, nigga. I'm sorry.
Your grandfather's lineage, man.
Get up out of me. Damn.
All right. So.
I was getting to my grandfather.
Yeah, for sure.
Here we go. So, I said my second great grandfather is Jonathan Biggs. Jonathan had my first great grandfather, who is Eddie Biggs, and then they had my grandfather Willie Biggs.
All right.
Okay, and then my mom, and then me. So there you go. So now we're talking about who I am today. And who I am is still apparently being discovered, right? You know, because uh, my mother was married to my father. All right.
Okay.
I got an older brother and an older sister. By the time that I came around, my mother was she was falling out of love with my father.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And while she was pregnant with me, I think something happened with my dad that she felt like she couldn't be with him anymore.
Okay.
Not nothing that was just crazy. It was just like you know, man, like people do this all the time. Like they get pregnant by somebody and end up breaking up.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And it does, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I've been there as well.
It does, you know, and um by that time it was she probably was just like, man, I can't believe I'm pregnant, but my mother probably wasn't believing in abortions. So she ended up meeting who I always thought was my father. His name's Todd Smetley, who that's the name that I had been carrying for all of these years, right? And so when she met Todd, like my dad, my father is a humble man. He's
Quick to peace.
he's just a good person, you know, just humble, uh, meek, soft spoken, cool person that you would love to be around because he ain't causing no trouble. All right. But those characteristics, after a while, I think that it made my mother start feeling like that he was just like not a
Nonchalant.
protector,
Mm.
you know, not somebody that she wanted to, she didn't feel whatever way she wanted to feel with him. So she went to the other end of the spectrum and got with somebody who was just more fucking just harder. You know what I'm saying? And once she did that, like, because they all went to the Kingdom Hall, which is Jehovah's Witnesses.
All
right.
three.
Yes, my mother, my father, and my stepfather.
Okay.
All right, all of them went to the Kingdom Hall, but I don't know about going there together. But they all kind of like got that base,
Right.
you know. And so for them having that base, my mom probably didn't think that my stepdad was that bad, but just at least a little badder than who she was with.
Right.
And so he appealed to her, and then they got together.
Okay.
All right. So my mother, you know, was telling him like, you know, I'm probably pregnant. I'm in this situation, but I do not want to be with this man no more. And so he said, don't even worry about that shit. That's my son. I got you. I'm going to take care of you, baby. And they pillow talking, and she in love, and she just said, okay. You know, probably thinking in her mind, like,
I gotta protect her. He gonna take care of us.
Kind of, but kind of thinking yes or no, because like some of this stuff is like how I'm kind of like receiving this information through thought, but I don't know that this is exactly how this thing played out. You know what I mean? Because,
but you know the characters enough to surmise.
Yeah, but up until I was 3 years old, though, you know, I was named Jason Lamont Bryant, you know, and that's saying that I was my real father's son at that point. Okay. But somewhere along the way, my mother went and told my father that I was not his son.
Okay.
All right. And I feel like that my stepfather was pulling those strings, controlling that situation, almost making her, pressuring her to go and do that.
Right.
Now, I don't know why my stepfather wanted me so bad to be his son, but he did. Like, he wanted me to be his son and claim me as his own. You know, so once they got married, like my name changed from Jason Bryant to Jason Smetley. This wasn't a it wasn't a like nothing that we went to court about, but that was just how it was when I started school, kindergarten. I'm Jason Smetley. Just period. I never ever remembered my name being Jason Bryant, you know, until later on down the line I found out that that's what it was. But so once they got married, I became Jason Smetley at that point. And like as time went on, my stepfather started revealing himself more and more as to his character, as to, you know, who he was, you know. And then I'm sure that my mom did too. Like my mom wasn't no weakling. Like she wasn't no battered woman. Like, you know how you see a woman that's just like just so humbled and just been beaten. She was a sweetheart, but she'll stand up for herself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? She a Leo. You're not gonna just
Wow.
You're not gonna she ain't no pushover. She ain't no punk. You know, but at the same time, she's still a mother, and she's gonna want to protect her children, you know. And I feel like my mother was in this relationship with a man who was capable of killing, capable of murder, you know, becoming a drug dealer, it got law enforcement like background in him, security, a big weapons dealer, gun dealer, you know, all of that. Like in my house, man, we had guns, bro. Like just guns. I'm gonna stay at this other angle. You can come straight at me. Yeah. But like my house, from the time I was 4 years old, like I used to hear my mother and my stepfather in the room. They would close the door and he'd be in there beating her, fighting her, you know, and I would hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, like right now in my mind, I can't really recall it, but I remember that I remembered that. You see what I'm saying? Like I knew my whole life, like, yeah, I used to hear them fight all the time, you know, and I did. But after, in 1980, we moved out of the projects to our house. We bought a house on Philadelphia. It was a nice big house. In 1980, this house was like, it was a good neighborhood, especially compared to where I was living
prior
before that. Yeah, because we was in just like on Kings Highway, Rolling Circle.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that was just like a little 1-2 bedroom apartment. Then we moved from there to a house that had maybe 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, a full finished basement, pool in the garage, like big boy house.
Any siblings at this time?
Yeah, I got my brother and my sister.
Okay.
And then my stepfather has another daughter, and her name's Camille. So my brother's name is Lionel, my sister's name is Autumn, and my sister, stepsister now, but she's not my stepsister. This is my sister. Her name is Camille Smetley. You know, but so these are my siblings. But from my mom and dad is me, my brother, and then I thought that I was Todd's son. So I always thought that my real brother and sister were my half brother and sisters. Like we got the same mom and different dad. So in 1980, we all moved out of the projects into a nice big ass house. Like this is a big boy house. Crazy. Like the first day that we moved in this house, we exploring the house, you know, and in the attic. So you go upstairs and then it's me and my brother's room, and then my sister had her own room on the other side. But inside me and my brother's room, it was like a little doorway. You open the doorway and then you kind of go into like this little attic area. Inside the attic was a coffin.
A literal coffin.
It was a coffin in the attic. And my brother and sister was so afraid. We was all afraid, you know. But I think I went and told my stepfather, who's I'll call him Todd for this interview.
Yeah.
So I went and told Todd, like, It sounds so weird for me to say that because my whole life I say my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is some like serious unprogramming, deprogramming that I'm going through as we speak.
Yeah.
But I went and told him, like they scared of this coffin in the closet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then he gave both my brother and my sister a beating. Like he used to like beat us. You know what I'm saying? I seemed like I didn't never get as bad as beating.
Weapon.
Nah, we had a long like nylon like plasticky pole that he had hit us with. He called it the green whooper.
Mm.
And that day when he whooped them for being afraid of the house, he said, "Who's the boogeyman?" And then he made them say the green whooper. Who the boogeyman? The green whooper. Who the boogeyman? The green whooper. Bam.
So he made them scared of that, not the house.
Who the boogeyman? And they had to say the green whooper. Bang. Who the boogeyman? The green whooper. Bang. Then he had another paddle that he used to like whoop us with. You know what I'm saying? The paddle's name was Teddy. And like from his wrath, like man, my sister, man, got the worst of it. Like my sister was traumatized by this. This is a maniac, bro.
Mm.
This nigga is a fucking killer, a fucking murderer. A murderer. Now I ain't and like for my family, right, man, for my sister Camille and for my aunt Nasa, you know, like, man, I apologize for being honest in this interview. All right, because I love you guys and y'all are always my family. Like I don't feel that. And y'all have absolutely nothing to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my story.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to just tell it to make it real. Man, like I done heard so many stories about shit that, you know what I'm saying, that my stepdad had done. You know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga like literally kidnapped me from my father. Kidnapped me from my father and fucking went as far as to change my name to his name. Like that's being extra, man. Yeah. You doing too much. You doing too much. Like, and I mean, I didn't go where I was about to go about just like.
What was inside the coffin? Like I'm still.
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't no dead body in the car. I think it was like just some maybe clothes or some shit like that. Like
that's a weird thing.
But
that's how his mind state was.
Well, he didn't put I don't know if he put the coffin there or not, but there was a coffin inside this house. And this is what I'm about to tell you is like, that's the setup for what I'm about to tell you. So this house that we moved into, man, this house is a fucking Amityville horror fucking evil house that has, since we lived there, before we lived there, people died in that house. My mother died in that house. My stepfather died while we lived in that house. He left that house and went immediately and died while me and my brother was in the house waiting for him to come back. After we moved out of there, I think 2 more families died in this house.
What?
We're going to look it up and we're going to put it on the screen. Mm-hmm. All right. I got newspapers.com, which is a part of ancestry.com, where you can look up microfilm about a bunch of stuff. And it's got an article on this house. The house got condemned as a public nuisance for no other reason other than people dying in this house.
Wow. What was the address of that old house?
The address is 2005 Philadelphia Drive.
Wow.
It's right on the corner of Philadelphia and Forest Grove.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come in from like where Good Sam Hospital was, you cross Salem going down towards Riverview, it'll be on your right-hand side Well, now it's just that the house burned down. The house burned. It's not even there anymore. The house like literally burned down, and I don't know who burned the house down.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Like I said, it was other families that had lived there after us that died, and I'm probably pretty sure they probably know the record of this house, so they probably got the same type of like viewpoint of this house as I do. I think Carl the barber, that was a famous barber in Dayton. I think he died inside that house.
Wow.
And so, like, my point in saying a coffin was in the attic was, I think that was a sign that now I put together to say, bro, we moved into fucking the shining motherfucking house. And I don't know if my father was that bad, my stepdad. I don't know if he was that bad before he moved there, or if that house and the evil spirits that was in that house grabbed a hold of him and changed who he was. Well, I think he was.
I want to delve into that. Like, what can you say about him prior to this? So, like, what do you know about your stepdad? You know, how was he raised? What was his legacy? What was his lineage? What were some things that you learned about him, you know, growing up?
Well, I mean, he was like a correction officer. I know that. Man, he was just like a super military minded person. He went to the Kingdom Hall. I think that he was real smart. He used to sit us down and he made me work out, lift weights, push-ups, sit-ups, stay in sports, be strong, play 20 questions, asking me all different type of questions, making sure I knew the answer to every question. You don't know the answer, you're going to get beat. You know, like he used to fuck with my sister a whole lot. Asking her questions, she don't know the answer. You dumb bitch, you dumb bitch. It's a little girl that's 7 years old, bro. What the fuck you calling a little girl a bitch? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, nigga, you must be crazy. Like, that shit is just...
I got an 8-year-old. I would never, man.
Ain't no way. And that ain't even your daughter to be saying no shit like that. Nigga, what the fuck is you saying? You calling a little girl a bitch? On a regular? Got us calling my sister bitches? Because we listening to this nigga. We think that shit funny and that shit cool. That ain't right. My sister scarred from that shit till this day. And she thinking nobody in the house even loved her. Like, and she had every right to feel like that. Like, you know, like, man, what the fuck? Like, hell nah. And this nigga is like just any fucking thing she did wrong, bro. She walking on eggshells her whole life, man. And my mother never knew what the fuck this nigga might do. And, so my mom wanted to get away from him. Like,
let's talk about your mom's legacy and the tragedy surrounding her demise.
So, like, my mother was just a beautiful person inside and out. I feel like I look just like my mother. I see my mom and my daughters like a whole lot. Just a sweetheart, man. You know what I'm saying? The way she say my name, the way she talked to me, she just always just make me feel love.
Who was her mother? Who was her father?
Well, my mother's mom, her name is Willa Biggs.
Right.
Her name is actually Willa Myers, but she married my grandfather and became a Biggs.
Okay.
They got divorced and she became a Willa Powell. That's my grandmother. And then my grandfather is Willie Biggs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we the Biggs family. You know what I mean? I'm definitely a Biggs. Sure.
What kind of vibe were they to create your mom? You know what I mean? Like, we always can see one leg and one leg and be like, okay, well, that's how my mom got here. What was the story that was told to you?
My grandmother was real smart. I think my grandmother was one of the first people to graduate from St. Clair when it was new.
Oh, but that's hard.
She was real proud of that. She had a degree. Beautiful woman. You know what I mean? She had children and marriages, and you know, I always thought my grandmother as being like real sweet. You know what I mean? My grandfather was a hard worker. Like, I know my grandfather the best out of everybody. You know, he just worked hard, just a hustler. Yep, that's my grandfather, 444. he had 444 on his license plate, and when he passed away, I was like there just like saying goodbye to him, like, and right outside his room, I looked out the window and his car was sitting there and his license plate said 444.
Yeah.
And it was like, you lit. Man, my granddad is like a really, really good dude, man. He got up out of, my grandfather was like going through his last stages and he went to hospice, and he didn't want to go to no damn hospice. He wanted to just pass away at home, man. So when he got to hospice, he would not die at all. And I came in the room one day and it was all like, for one, we was just talking and kicking it. He wasn't messed up. He's still doing his thing. Come in the room the next day, he all like, not talking, not doing nothing, just sleep, knocked out, won't wake up. Like he was just in a coma. Like, what's going on here? So I'm like, man, hold the fuck up. Like, bro, y'all not going to just put my grandfather to sleep, bro. We not going to do that. If he going to pass away on his own, y'all going to make him comfortable and give me medicine. Okay, I get that, but y'all not going to speed this up.
Right.
So I pulled the nurse to the side. This was like the hardest thing I ever did. I pulled the nurse to the side and I went in on her in the most calm way. So no yelling, no screaming, but challenging her on everything that was happening with my grandfather. On their ass. After it was over, listen, my grandfather hadn't made a move, bro. After I talked to her and they said that they was going to take him off of this shit that they had put him on and make him incapacitated. I hope that's a real word, but
yeah, it is.
After I did that, I looked over to my grandfather. I said, "You hear that?" Yes, he shook his
yes,
head,
sir.
like, he heard me.
That's hard, bro.
Bro, that was
the
hard. Toughest thing ever, bro.
That's hard, bro.
That was the toughest thing
hard.
ever. He heard me standing up for him.
Yeah.
He heard me standing up for him. And that was, he said,
that's hard, bro.
He shook his head like, yes, sir. My nigga.
That's
my granddaddy,
hard,
the truth, man. I love my granddad, bro. I'll cry right now with my granddad.
For sure.
But
so those two beautiful spirits birthed your mother.
Yeah.
Right.
Got my mom, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how basically I got here. But like kind of like we still kind of like going back over to this situation where I never, like, I always thought I was my stepdad's son, basically. Right. And I guess that's what we looking for. But like I'm looking how this thing plays out, you know. So you got this murderer, killer, drug dealer, gun dealer, motherfucking don't give a fuck about nothing nigga controlling my mother. And mom, I hate to even say somebody controlled you because it puts you in a weak position, but he was though. And my mom didn't know what this nigga might do, not only to her, but to us. So my mom come through and say, you are not his son. He might kill her. If he might kill my sister. Like, he might do anything. She knew what this motherfucker was capable. You know what I'm saying? And he did. He killed my mother. You know what I'm saying? And like, they was going through their own marriage shit. You know what I'm saying? But to kill is out of bounds. To kill is out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mom didn't want to be with him anymore. You calling her daughter bitches every fucking day. You fucking on fucking drugs. You trying to fucking kidnap me. You just a fucking you
hellraiser.
You a fucking dangerous motherfucker. Don't nobody want to be around that shit. They cool. And that's just it. If I ever become like that, nobody should want to be around me. Don't nobody want to be around me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my mom gave up somebody who was a good, gentle person that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe he might have been like just not no nigga that was on no rah-rah gangster, but he was a good man and a good father and somebody that was gonna be around for you.
What era was this? If we just talk,
This
to,
is
to put it into perspective.
This is 1970s.
So in the 70s, you know what I'm saying, you had a lot of like rioting, race riots, stuff like that. So maybe that's the climate of a man that, you know, would appeal to a woman.
I get it.
in
I
that
get
state.
why my mom wanted to be with. Like, man, I'm on my mom's team. I'm like team mom, bro.
Right.
Team Jan, bro. All day. I am with my mother. I don't blame my mother for nothing. Like, man, my mother is my angel. Like, I wear my mom every day, bro. My mom is my good luck charm, bro. You know what I'm saying? But she ain't perfect.
Right.
And neither am I.
Mhm.
And so it's okay for me to talk about where perfection, where not being perfect will cost you.
Mm.
And she know it cost her. You know what I'm saying? She don't want that shit. She didn't want to die. She didn't want to leave us like that. But you know, it ended up happening, man, that she picked the wrong man. And even if she didn't want to be with my father, she wished she would have picked somebody else beside
Right.
this motherfucker that she got to protect her daughter from. Because I really feel like my mom was worried about what he might do to everybody, not only just her.
Right.
So that's why she couldn't go and tell my father, my real father, or tell me, or do any of these other things, what was going on. Because this nigga will go crazy and kill her.
So let's talk about your true father's legacy and how did you come to the realization that he is your actual father, and let's talk about that whole process there.
Well, so in 1986, right, August the 11th, 1986, Todd killed my mother while me and my sister Autumn was upstairs in the house. And after that, he died or got killed or killed himself October 1st, 1986 of that same year.
Killed himself?
He either killed himself or somebody killed him. I'm not sure which one happened.
What are the circumstances surrounding that, just so we can put that into a...
So he came home.
Closure.
He came home. It was late. He worked second shift at NCR, right?
Nice place to work at.
Came home. Yeah. Came home and told me and my brother that he was about to go sell a gun. And he left and never came back and got killed that night. But the reason why I'm saying he might have killed himself or somebody else might have killed him, because he died of one bullet wound to the abdomen. So he was shot in the stomach. All right. They ruled his death a suicide. But who the fuck gonna shoot theyself in the stomach to kill theyself? That
Right.
shit ain't happening, like, at all. That's
Right.
not happening. So that's why I say it could have been a suicide or somebody could have killed him.
Right, like to get the gun that he was going to go sell.
Right. Yeah. Or anybody, like a security guard was there. He was on some shit. Who knows what the fuck was going on? You know what I'm saying? You never know.
Yeah, he could lie to y'all about what he... But yeah, but...
You just never know
Yeah,
what happened.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But I never thought that he killed himself, though.
Right.
But that was the official report, which I do want to investigate that.
That'll be next.
I'm on that because, like, if he didn't kill himself and he got killed for whatever reason, like, you can't label that death a suicide.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what happened. But
Well, I mean,
if it's not
I
a
don't want to
suicide-
go too far past this point because, I mean, there's no going back from this point. How did you find out that your stepfather passed?
My real father called and told me. Well, really, my real father's wife called and told me, because my real father had got remarried
Mhm.
to Jacqueline Bryant.
Mhm.
And that's been my mom my whole life after my mom passed away. You know what I'm saying? But she called and just asked, was anybody... Well, no, my dad called. My dad called. He said, Junior, is anybody there with you? I was like, I'm like, no. Then he was like, okay, I'm on my way. And then I called right back, and his wife answered the phone. And I was like, I said, Miss Jackie, is my dad dead? And then she
You
was like,
said that?
yes, yes, I did. Without knowing, without nothing. I said, is my dad dead? He wasn't at home. My mom had just died like a month before. My mom died August the 11th. This is October 1st. So this is less than 2 months. I'm dead. I'm like, you know, somebody
That
say
was a topic.
I'm gun shy.
Yeah.
Like I'm dead shy at this point. Like I'm just thinking like, damn, I wonder if he gonna die.
Yeah. If they don't come home, then they probably.
Well, this is a conversation that me and my stepdad had. Before he died, like he told me that the police wanted to kill him. Right? So I'm saying all this shit about my stepdad, right? But how he treated me was golden. Man, he treated me like he thought that I was going to turn out to be the most major person ever. He talked to me about everything. He asked me my advice about shit. I was only like a 10-year-old kid, man. But he wanted me to ride with him everywhere. He came to all my soccer games. He was like, he sat me down and made me play 20 questions and made me answer answer every question. He putting information in me, bro. Just doing his best to just
Pressure.
He was a father, man. He was a father. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was a father.
He was present.
He was present. And he was on some gangster shit, some hardcore shit, some military shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of like raising a boy to be a fucking man.
That was your experience with him. Does not negate what he did with other people. But your experience with him was he raised you.
Oh, yes. And my brother too. My older brother LB.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Man, my older brother is the GOAT to me, like in a lot of ways. And like he treated him, maybe I ain't gonna say better than me, but he treated him just as good. He like really, and he acknowledged that, you know, my brother was my dad's son. You know what I'm saying? He didn't kidnap him like he did me.
Right. Right.
Kidnapped, stolen.
Yeah. So your true father's legacy and his place, and you know what I'm saying, because they met what in what's it called, like the Prince Hall or thing like that?
Yeah, it's called the Kingdom Hall.
Okay, no disrespect. Kingdom Hall. So what was his upbringing? Who was his family?
So my real dad?
Yes.
Man, my real dad was.
I put names on it just to keep
my
people.
real dad is Paul Bryant.
Okay.
Okay. Like he was just a cool person, man. You know what I'm saying? But he went to the Kingdom Hall. Now, right now, my dad he's an elder in the Jehovah's Witness congregations or the Jehovah's Witness religions.
Ranking, whatever you want to put it.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
He's hierarchy.
He big dog.
Right.
You know, he delivers talks to Sold Out Nutter Center Arena or the Coliseum in Louisville. I think that's the name of it. But I mean, we talking 20,000 people there, and he giving the final talk of it all. So he's brilliant at what he does. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just one thing for sure, like he loved the Most High.
Right.
And when my mom and Todd came to him with that bullshit, telling him that I wasn't his son, he knew what type of nigga Todd was. You know what I'm saying? And so he chose to let God fight that battle for him. You know, like this story is so biblical because he like, man, I'm not about to get mixed up with this nigga that's done took control of my wife, like my ex-wife. Like, no, okay, you say he ain't my son, okay, you know, and that's what type of person he is, you know, and he didn't fight for me, you know what I'm saying, but he let God fight. And sometimes, like, I got mixed feelings about that, but I mean, God did fight for him, you know, and God always wins, and God won that battle, you know, like I said, from the time I was 4 years old, my name became Jason Smedley. But then in like 1985-ish, 86-ish, we actually went to the court and changed my name to Todd Roy Smedley Jr. Extra. Extra, bro. So once we did that, I think God had enough at that point. No. That's when Todd died, mom passed, and when that happened,
You were delivered.
I went and moved back in with my father. Wow. With my brother and my sister. Now, that wasn't just an obvious choice for me to go to, because like I said, for all my father knew, I was a child from an adulterous relationship between his ex-wife and my stepdad. So he could have just been like, no.
Yeah.
He's not coming here. You go live with your dad's parents, my fake grandparents. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they good people too. I don't want to even call them fake grandparents because I felt like that was kind of disrespectful. But to Todd's mom and dad, you know, but you know, they came one time after my mom and dad died. I moved in with my real father under the guise that he's my brothers and sisters' father, right? And my father's, my stepfather's parents came over to our house one time, and they came in and was like, you got to tell him, talking to my dad, you got to tell him. And he like, I'm like, tell me what? And they was like, and then he was like, they want me to tell you that I'm your real father.
This happened to you.
This happened
at what age?
I was like 11 years old. And then I was like, what? And then I asked, like, well, are you? Or later on that day or week? Cause they was like, he was like, I'm not telling him that. My dad said that he wasn't gonna tell me that he was my real dad. And then they was like, well, come on, you coming with us then. Now, mind you, I was like, hell no, I'm not coming with y'all. I'm staying here with my brother and my sister, because my father had told me my whole life that his parents was the most mean people that used to beat him and put him in closets and lock him up and just beat on him and shit.
Your real dad?
No, my
stepdad.
My stepdad said that his parents, who had came over to our house to tell my real dad to tell me that he was my father. Cause they like, why are y'all?
Yeah, like quit playing.
Man, my stepdad's parents was probably good people, and they didn't want to put up with my stepdad's bullshit. So they just was like, man, fuck that, lock that nigga in the closet, do whatever they trying to get a hold of this nigga to prevent him from being the fucking killer that he turned out to be. But they couldn't change him. They couldn't stop it. So anyway, they came over to try to set the record straight. Paul, tell him that you his father for real, and quit all this dumbass games y'all been playing.
Wow.
And my dad wouldn't do it. I don't know what kind of code he was trying to uphold, or cause like now my parents are my fake dad and my mom, they already died. Like, I've been delivered back to you. Even though they came to you and told you I wasn't your son. Like,
what would it cost him to just say?
Even though they told you I wasn't your son, you knew that it was possible that I could be. Right. Even though you say you didn't know. Okay, you might didn't know. But you knew you had to have had sex with my mother
in that window.
For me to have been your son. So I don't know why he was so reluctant to try to just make it official or not. But okay, you know what I'm saying?
Could he have felt like you'd have been through enough already?
He could have, and I don't think that he had no bad reasoning for doing it. I just don't know why. Like, if it would have been me, I think I would have approached it and said, "Look, Junior, there is a chance I could be your dad. And we can go get a DNA test to prove it. Because I asked him this multiple times, like as a kid. Not every day, but just periodically. Because my Uncle Jack was adamant about Todd ain't your father. He didn't tell me that because everybody didn't want to hurt my feelings, man. But I just used to hear chatter. I used to hear the little chatter. Uncle Jack said, Todd wasn't even your father. Paul your dad. So I would ask Paul, like, man, they said you my dad. Like,
Nah, man, listen to that.
He like, no. He said no. Then after we got grown, I called him and asked him again. And he was like, I don't know. He told me he didn't know finally.
Okay.
He told me he didn't know. And then I was like, well, I think we should go get a DNA test done.
Is that what got you?
Yeah, because this has been going
confirmation?
around you. This has been 30 years. Like, bro, we've been doing this for like 30 years, you know? But yeah. So I finally, like a couple of weeks ago, I just wanted to just find out my father's side of the family because I'm doing our ancestry DNA test.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I got my mom's side down. You know, I done went all the way back to 1400s.
Yeah.
But with my dad's side, I'm drawing a blank. Cause I'm like, man, I ain't about to do no DNA test. I mean, no ancestry on Todd. I don't even know if this really my father. I
Right.
don't think he's my father at this point.
Mm-hmm.
For no reason. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Oh, it was one other part that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
Well, when I was telling you that I asked, was my dad dead when they called that morning? Well, he was telling me that the police wanted to kill him and stuff and like that. But I was like, I said, well, if they kill you, make them shoot you twice. Or I might have told
You
him.
said this to him.
Yeah. I said, or shoot yourself in the, I said, maybe shoot yourself in the chest or shoot yourself something. I told him that. It was, I either told him to make them shoot himself twice or shoot himself somewhere else, not in the head. I said, because so they can't try to say you killed yourself. I told him that. And my sister was sitting in the room. My sister Camille, we was all in the bathroom. And my sister was like, don't talk like that. Don't say that. We was kids though. I was only 11. My sister Camille was 14 probably at that time, 13, 14.
God, man.
He probably had just turned 14. And yeah, I told him that. So like I was already kind of like on alert that he might be getting killed.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Soon or something. I don't know. But yep, I got that. And they called. I said, is my dad dead? She said, yes, honey.
Wow.
That's what my mom said. My God stepmom.
Yeah. So, you know, what was it like to, you know, find out that your true father and find out who your real father was? What was that like, you know, to finally get that confirmation? And did it give you a hint or maybe, you know, like a little small bit of, the objective view when it comes to your real father? Like, you know, like, was there some type of, come on, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was wrong in that situation? Mm-hmm. Did you feel anything wrong when it comes to how your actual dad handled it after you found out the confirmation?
No, I don't have no type of anger or ill will feelings towards my father. Is that what you asking me, kind of? Mm-hmm. No, I don't. I love him. I'm glad he my dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a part too. I'm
just
glad
ugly
he
my dad.
But yeah, man, you know, I'm glad. I think that it, man, because it was really embarrassing, man, telling people my father killed my mother. Mm-hmm. All of that. Like, man, I never wanted to say it. I used to tell people that my parents died in a car accident to avoid having to say my dad killed my mom. Like, that was like a terrible thing. And then it was like my brother Lionel and my sister Autumn, like, I've never thought of them as my half brother or sister since we got the same mom. Like, I never told anybody that's my half sister. Or no,
yeah.
But when it came down to like us taking this test, because I called both of them and said, hey, I'm about to take a DNA test with that. I call him Paul, really. Like me calling my real dad is the weirdest thing ever. I texted him and told him, like, I said, hey, Dad. I said, that sounds so weird, don't it? He said, yes, it does. But, I brought up that point. But like when we was getting ready to take the DNA test, I told my brother and sister what was about to happen. So we got to wait a week for the results for the most part. And like, I just didn't want them to come back and say that I was Todd's son. Right. It would have been like, like that gave us glimmer of hope for all these years that I could be Paul's son. Like, and I don't know. I was just glad when they came back and said that I was Paul's son.
Right.
You know, and it was all good, you know, but now I'm on this other type of time where go ahead.
So I also want to ask you, so like, what's it like to build a legacy, you know, off of a name that now, you know, a name that you're shamed by?
It's weird. It's weird. It feels like, man, like, just like I just want my name to be my own. You know what I'm saying? And like, cause all the way down to the weirdest thing, like, bro, I'm named Todd Roy Smetley Jr. So it's like, man, I gotta get rid of this whole name. Like, it ain't like I can just go and change my last name because I would still be Todd at that point.
Right.
You know, and I think that it's all the Most High's plan. And it's good for me, man, because now this gives me a chance to just rename myself with a name of purpose and just name myself according to my own personality and character and who I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And what I want to do. And so.
And that new name is?
Is Ahava El Elyon.
Ahava
El Elyon.
Ahava El Elyon.
Yeah, and it just means love. It just means love the Most High.
That's hard.
You know, and that's just it. And so, like, everybody wants to know what they can call me because, man, we like nickname kings. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I
I would not know what to be called if my name wasn't Peanut no more.
Right. Well, my name means love. Like, Ahava means love. You know what I'm saying? So, like love is a name. And then I was thinking about all kind of other stuff, like El, the name El is spelled like E-L, right? But the first letter in love is also L. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can really just call me Love, call me L.
My man, Elio.
Yeah,
my man,
but
Elio.
there's really a rhythm and a nickname and a vibe and a name. You know what I'm saying? And so it has to come naturally and not forced. And it should be said with like kind of like just
offhand ease.
Yeah, it's not nothing you have to try to like create. You know what I'm saying? And so, but like I told Hoodro and Skeeter Fly yesterday. Like, we don't say each other's names anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, normally, we just call each other bruh, bro, cuz, fam, you know, all of those names. But if you want to address me, like, just address me whatever's natural, man. You know what I'm saying? And I understand, man, like, Smed, I've already came up with other definitions of Smed.
Stacking money every day.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, like, man, Smed is something that I made my own too, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, Smedro, you know what I'm saying? Like, people gonna always remember that name and call me that, you know what I'm saying? But when people do call me that, I think that it's okay for me to say, bro, you know I changed my name. And then they say, what? And then I'll tell them. And then, like, my name is a commandment, and it's the first commandment. And it's to love the Most High. Like, that's the main thing that we all should be doing, you know? And every time you say my name, you say a commandment.
Right.
You know?
That's hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, the love of the Most High, I mean, it comes with the love of all races, right? What has, this journey been when it comes to your belief on race? Prior to finding out the information, you know what I'm saying, you militant, you know what I'm saying, like you had a certain, what way did you move? In certain ways, how has this benefited, your global perspective now?
Well, doing research on my family, like bro, I done seen we have just a multitude of people from different regions all through me. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't even tell what one of my. I put a picture of my grandfather Ralph on Facebook. You don't know what he is. People saying Italian, Cuban, Mesoamerican, African American, Sicilian. Like they trying to guess. Man, my grandmother Emma, who is my dad's grandmother. Like you don't know what race she is. She's just like real light, almost white, but like wavy, pretty hair. You don't know.
All hair beautiful, by the way.
You don't know. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't know what race she is. So like for me to hate any race, which I've never hated any race. Like I don't got that type of time, but I'm just saying for anybody, like bro, like you literally hating yourself at that point. You can't dislike somebody from a race. And now, since I did find out all that information about my English family, like, man, I look at white people as family members.
There we go.
I know that we ruled them. My family ruled whites as whites. You see? I ruled.
I'm glad the camera ain't on me. I'm glad the camera ain't on me.
I just wanted you to catch on for me to keep saying how I ruled people. I ruled this person and ruled that person. Like, but nah, for real. Like, man, it's I think that it is expanding my consciousness, man. And I just, what I'm saying? Like I see myself in everybody.
That's hard.
And that's how I think we all should. And people, man, I think black people a lot of black people know they got white people in their family.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of like we don't acknowledge that because it is a little embarrassing, man. Like black people think it's embarrassing to have a white person in your family.
Yeah, because it's a term back there, like the lighter you are, the more ashamed you should be. I remember my grandmother used to say that.
She said what?
The more lighter you are, the more ashamed you should be.
Right, because of the reputation and the tyranny that the British Empire caused on like they went and colonized all these lands and set up shop and man had slavery and did a bunch of just selfish acts that wasn't very human to be doing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they dehumanize themselves by treating other people like they're not human beings. That's like they look at people like, look at this African, this nigga don't got no building, no house, no nothing, and they barely even wearing clothes. This is not a fucking human being. This is a animal,
a savage.
And so since this is an animal, I can go in and just take all his natural resources and I can treat him less than a human. But when you do that, you are the person who is less than human at that point. So it's kind of like you've fallen for your own trap. So that's why, because of that tyranny, like white people black people feel like, man, as much damage as they done to us, I'm embarrassed to even have them be a part of me. Right. But if we keeping it all the way real, like white people have done extraordinary things too. Like I know, like when somebody does one bad thing, you just deem them as a bad person from there on out, no matter how much good they do. Right. Like a school teacher done taught thousands and thousands and thousands of kids how to do math, but then they drink and drive and you put them on the news. School teacher drunk and drive. He's arrested. Jamie Simpson saved 1,000 motherfuckers from a tornado. Fact. Nobody died. The GOAT. I don't know how many people he saved, but he saved some. Even if he saved one, that's amazing. Right. He saved my family. Yep. We was watching the news and we took cover.
Yep. He saved several families.
So, but he gets drunk and you put that on the news and then embarrass and shame somebody. So what I'm saying is like I don't think that that's necessarily right for us to do that, and I don't think that it's right for us to just say like white people are bad
Oh yeah,
just
yeah.
because
A broad brush ain't good for
just
anybody.
because of some of the things that some white people have done. Because Lord knows the niggas have done a
Yeah.
bunch of shit, and like
I like detail brush, not a broad brush when it comes to people.
right, black brothers and sisters do terrible stuff every day, and so do white people. So like I equally dislike whites and blacks. Like it's not because you black or white, it's just because of the bullshit you do. Like
X.
white people can come and do some irritating shit.
Mhm.
They know it. They
Yeah.
know it. They get irritated with each
Yeah.
other.
You put me
Black-
onto that fake nice stuff, and
Right.
it go right over my head. I'm like, oh, he was nice. You like, he wasn't nice.
Right. but the thing about it, like black people, white people, like all of them can be equally annoying.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. And they can be equally good too. And me too. You see what I'm saying? Like
Right.
we was talking about white pride,
Mhm.
and I was asking, is it okay for me to have white pride? You know? And they told me like, well,
What
I'm
part?
supposed to be black. Like black pride is like proud of everything any black person has ever done.
Mhm.
That's black pride, right? I'm like, well, damn. Can I have that with white pride too? And they like, no. But they
That's
say
funny,
black
yeah.
black pride is only like that's like I think that us as black people have to stop looking at ourselves as inferior. Like and stop taking these dumbass handouts and like put everybody else on the same level that we're on, whether it's up or down. Like if I can have black pride, then certainly somebody that's white can have white pride
Absolutely.
because we the same. Like bro, like you.
They should not walk around
Stop
with the shame.
babying me, making me feel like you gotta coddle me and make me feel good all the time. Like I don't want your petting on my fucking head. Like bro, no, you can have your white pride. Stand up for yourself and be happy that you white. I can be happy that I'm all. People gonna cancel me.
No,
bro.
y'all. So with all this new information, man, what does this mean for your tribe today, your legacy today, what you got going forward?
Just loving the Most High, and just continuing the soul search, continuing to try to just be better, man. I just want to be a really like example for the Most High. Like, and I don't even know what that is. It's not being all holy and holier than thou and this and that, but it's just like just doing right, just treating people right, treat myself right. Man, definitely want to be a better father. You know, just want to be a strong father, grandfather every second. You know what I'm saying? And if that's tough love, that's tough love. If it's giving more, it's giving more. It's whatever it got to be. But like, I understand, man, for like, I don't want to be, and this for my kids specifically. Like, man, I just don't want to be unapproachable to my kids and make them feel like I'm too busy for them to ask for stuff or to like, they don't want to disturb me because I work too much. Because, man, I do. I go off by myself. When number one, I go in my room and just kind of chill. I close my door and just, you know, watch my TV or be on my phone or something. And they might be like, well, Dad, don't bother him like right now. I'm like, nah, I don't want to be like that. Call me, text me, bother me, come to the room, knock on the door, do whatever it is you want to do. And I'll do a better job of like being more available where you don't got to have that like step back to wonder if you bother me. Like I'll be in the living room or something where you can just pull up on me. But that's the main thing that I really want to do is just make sure that I'm just there for my family and work, grind, get money, get abundance, get a lot of money so things will be easier for my family. Just it might not be easier, but that'll be one less important thing that we gotta worry about, you know.
Right.
And so that's it. That's my goals, bro.
Man, so listen, man, here on the Legendary People podcast, at a thing called the Butterfly Effect, there's something you said during the course of the interview or something I found in the course of my research that I found to be truly profound and amazing, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, taking this journey inspired me. You know what I mean? Like literally, like there are not too many people out there that inspire me to do anything besides was I stayed the course. Like my year's focus was to focus, like literally focus. Do one thing until I'm done with it, then it's on to the next.
Right.
And this kind of flipped my whole world upside down, especially when I saw the benefits of you learning type of things. I mean, like even you go back to, you know, like your colonial, you know what I mean, lineage. I mean, all those things you found pride in. And a lot of times black people don't find pride when you look at your legacy. I mean, like, I'm not saying that nobody has nothing to be proud of. I mean, you have people that are descendants of, different type of factions when it comes to your family. But for you to go back and find greatness in the place where people say, man, nah, you should be ashamed of that. I mean, like we said before, you know what I mean? The more lighter you are, the more ashamed you should be, making it seem like there wasn't any positivity to having, you know, that in your family. But when you look at, you know, the game tapes, as we do when it comes to basketball, we bring down the game tapes. Your greatest grandmother lived to be 100 years old. Mm-hmm. She was not treated poorly to live 100 years old. I know people today that can't live to be 50 and 60 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like, you know, in the other part of your family where you feel, man, you know, bad about, you know, I look at your stepfather, man, he saw greatness in you. Everything that he saw in you, he was right. You know what I mean? Even though he did other things that outside of the spectrum of how he treated you, you know, he did a great job at preparing you for the world, number one.
Yeah.
Number one was that. You always been militant. Ever since I known you. Nothing, I mean, you got your meek ways when, you know what I'm saying, you will give a person 101 tries, bro. Mm-hmm. I've seen it when you deal with people that, you know, the only person I know that will pick somebody up off the street and bring them in, clean them up, give them a job, get them on the right path, and then you give them 100 tries after that.
Yeah.
That shows that you have this different thing in you, and he saw that. And then when you look at like a different way than like black people think some, not all, you know, individual. Like we go to individual sports, want to be the best basketball player. You always had this team concept. You always had this legacy. You always had this broader perspective of what you're doing ain't just for you. And then when you look at the proof that's in the pudding, you always did this and expanded and always did that. And then for, you know, you to now make a new stake, a new claim, a new name, a new beginning, it still wasn't about you. You praised the Most High when you got to that point. I mean, like you put t-shirt, you put kings on everything. But when you named yourself, you praise the Lord, the kings of all kings, man. Mm-hmm. For that, bro, legendary, man.
Man, for sure. For sure. Yeah, man, your name, it means a lot, you know. Mm-hmm. It definitely does. My father's last name is Bryant. And I did think about taking that name, Bryant, but I just think that it came from a place where I'm not sure. But one thing I am sure about is that I came from the Most High, the Creator.
Sorry. And
like in that little pocket of time where my mom and stepdad had died, and my real father, I started living with him, but he said I wasn't his son. Like at that point, I didn't have a father except for the Most High. And I used to always tell myself this over and over when I didn't know who my father was. I used to say, God is my father. God is my father. God is my father. And I told myself that for years, 35 years, bro. After I started learning that my real dad might be my dad, I didn't know. So I just said God was my father and he was going to always take care of me. And now that it was time for me to really give myself a last name, I have to give the last name to God, like Creator. And from this point forward, I pray that my children take that last name too. But if they don't, it's okay. It's not no pressure. But Ahava El Elyon, that is a beautiful name. Mm-hmm. Listen to it. Like the name is just
Ahava El Elyon.
yeah, it's like it's smooth, man. It sounds smooth. It sounds beautiful to me. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. I take the name. I take it. And like this name is something that I thought about. I was trying different names on, seeing how they fit. I was gonna go back to Jason. I was gonna go to any name. Like I was just trying to figure out what was right. And I did. I prayed for it, literally. And like I woke up immediately with the name, period. And it was just it. And I'm like, all right, bet. And then I still was kind of worried about how my kids would hear the name, or how my sister or my brother or even my dad would feel about me taking a name that sounds so foreign and different. But my sister called me, man. Man, I love my sister,
Shout
man.
out to your sister for sure.
Man, my sister is so beautiful, man. Like, man, my sister is an overcomer, bro. We need to interview my sister because she done did it all too. She the truth. But she sent me a TikTok the day I was worried about my name and worrying how people would feel, and she sent me a TikTok and said that the youngest brother is the one that's gonna be the person to bring everybody else into this camp of like spirituality and righteousness, and she sent it to me at the perfect moment I was meditating. And it was just like a sign.
Wow.
That was saying, it's okay, bro. It's okay. And I told her that. She was like, yeah, I want you to do that. Because it's like, it just her opinion matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
It just does. Like, she been like my mother ever since my mom died. Like, my sister is my mother, but we also like best friends in a way too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. She just like, for her to tell me that it was okay, I didn't need nobody else to say it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God sent me the confirmation
Through your sister.
through my sister. Yep.
That's hard.
And, yeah, man. So
what's next on this journey, man?
Elion. I mean, what's our next on the journey? We doing the Legendary People podcast. We gonna make t-shirts.
Yeah.
We gonna just stay busy.
1 million t-shirts sold.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
We're
a
gonna
stat.
keep running commercials, man. just stay busy, and just keep doing this work, man. And that's it, bro. Man, but let me thank you, bro, because like you came in, bro. You did this interview. You led it. You just perfect for this, bro. And you born on my mother's birthday, man. Like you and my nephew Justin is born on my mom's birthday. But the point that you're born on my mom's birthday is really cool, bro, because like you really don't meet people who become your family that quick. Like that's different. And you know, you here, bro. Like you don't let me down no time. You know what I'm saying? And I just thank you for coming to do this interview, bro. Because you're my brother. I love you so much, bro.
Man, bro, you gonna get me in here, man.
You all right, man. You my little bro, man. You know what I'm saying? You my mom reincarnated in a mother in a brother form. It's like
that's hard, man.
Man, and remember I told you about George Washington Dupee?
Yeah.
My grandfather way back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his birthday is July 24th.
What?
You about to cry.
Look at you.
Look at me.
Take a point away from Sven for making me cry.
This is my mother. I told you.
Oh, that's hard,
I
man.
love it, bro. Hey, we out of here, bro.
All right,
we
bro.
good?
Yeah, we good,
We
bro.
good.
We
All
good.
right.
All right, man. This nigga said he want to make